topping news tonight at 5, Iowa is set to become the most recent state to implement the fetal heartbeat bill. An Iowa judge has ruled the state's strict abortion law will take effect Monday, preventing most abortions after or about 6 weeks of a woman expecting. That means abortions will become illegal as soon as a fetal heartbeat can be detected. The state Supreme Court denied Planned Parenthood's request to rehear a challenge to that law Monday. Iowa's justices then sent the case to a district judge who decided to lift the injunction July 29th. The law does have exceptions for cases of rape, incest, and medical emergencies. Governor Kim Reynolds now responding to the new fetal heartbeat law going into effect by saying, as the fetal heartbeat law finally takes effect, our work will continue to strengthen a culture of life in Iowa. I remain deeply committed to supporting women and planning for motherhood, promoting the importance of fatherhood, elevating adoption, and protecting in vitro fertilization. You can read more about today's ruling as the conversation continues online right now at ktiv.com.